Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am DDO's community manager, Cordovan, and I'll be with you for the next hour, hanging out, doing Q&A, having some fun, playing Saltmarsh on probably my level 30 cleric here that you're seeing on the screen right now. We had a patch today, I can talk a little bit about that. I don't actually know what the bonus is for tomorrow yet. Turns out we didn't write anything down. And we're going to have to meet this afternoon to figure out what we want to do there. So, I don't know. I can't guarantee that what you tell me you want is going to happen, but it might. It might. Wait a second, what am I hearing? What am I seeing? I'm already seeing people talk. We haven't done a treasure hunter weekend since May. Wait a second. Treasure... I think it might be treasure hunter, but we'll find out here tomorrow, I guess, when all is said and done. So... there we go. I can also cover up my screen a little better. I don't have a background now, so let me make that smaller. So what have I been up to? I got the first saga completion done on this character right here on Saltmarsh. So I've been running the level 30 content of Saltmarsh on Epic Elite. A couple things on Reaper 1 when I was in a group, but when it's just solo Mio, I am not. I did want to also quick mention, I want to ask a couple of questions about what the chat might want to offer in terms of gear advice. I would like to actually do that here a little bit before we get going, but I can talk about that after I sort of do something more substantive with the news or what have you. So, let's see. What do we got in chat? Remnant Vendor? That's true, it's been a while since we had one of those as well. Also, hello Johnny on YouTube. Thanks for typing there. Let me head over to Facebook. Please address caster DPS and major dysfunction after this update. Plans to fix in U51 or update question mark. Very disproportionate compared to pre-update. So I think what you're referencing the combat and balance changes that went in with update 50 here. If we need to do something on caster DPS, we can. This is not intended to, of course, be the be-all, end-all of all balance forever. Overall, the feedback has been pretty good. Outside of a few areas, like we've heard from a few casters out there, more on the CC side than DPS, but, you know, like I said, if we need to, we can do something there as well. But I would expect to see further work as needed here in the coming weeks and probably like next couple of months. Any delays expected in today's patch? No, the game is live. Everything went fine. One nice thing that happened with today's patch is we fixed an issue on the DDO forums that was preventing new users since about May and returning users, people who haven't logged in a very long time, from being able to be administered by me and other admins through the forums. So we've had an issue in the last couple of months where there's a few people who don't get their proper forum permissions set. Normally there's a couple of days where you can't post, that's an anti-spam measure, and then it flips over to a different user group and boom, you can start posting again. Or you can start posting. But we were having an issue where that wasn't working correctly in recent months, so that got fixed this morning. That had been fixed about 2 weeks ago on the Lotro side. The same deployment now happened on the DDO side. So if you're one of probably somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 people who I've interacted with in recent months, either through forum private message or the community ticketing system, the actual ticketing system that we use, you should be fixed now. At least the accounts I checked this morning, everything was working good, so that was nice to see. Otherwise, let me just pop up the release notes quick and we could talk a little bit about what we did do here. There we go. We do have a couple of nice release notes for this patch and some other work that's going to be happening in the near future, and I can talk a little bit about that as well. Let me do that. Alright, so for the 51 release notes, one of the main things we did is fix an issue where Horizon Walker was not being retained properly through True Reincarnation. Now, unlike the issue where you weren't necessarily getting it warded on 400 favor. We can't have an NPC fix this one. So if you're one of the, thankfully, very few people who did not get Horizon Walker applied through your true reincarnation over the past week, you'll need to get in touch with customer service. It might take a little while, but they can fix your issue. Let me put myself down. It's bothering me that I'm seeing myself floating in the air. All right. Here's a good one. Commendations of Heroism can now be turned in for greater tokens of the 12 on a 1-to-1 basis by speaking to Lehar in the 12. I think maybe towards the end of the show I'll pop over to that area and just kind of show you a little bit about what's over there and how it's going to work. Epic chests throughout Saltmarsh will now have a small chance of also dropping 1,000 sentient XP gems. This has to do with the fact that the loot in Saltmarsh is dropping at level 3 in an upgradable state. So the named loot that you're getting in many cases in Saltmarsh, now there's direct legendary loot as well, but a lot of the loot is upgradable. And you upgrade it by getting the hay that you'll be getting through the Saltmarsh quest, and then going to the 12, going to the altar of legendary, or epic or legendary rituals, epic first, then legendary, and then upgrading the thing with those pieces that you've collected. Because of that, though, it's a level 3 when it drops rather than level 29 or 30 or what have you. So those who wanted to just crunch that stuff down for sentient XP were impacted by that change. So what we're doing instead is offering 1,000 XP, sentient XP gems just throughout really any epic chest in the Saltmarsh content. And we'll see how crazy that is in terms of the acquisition rate versus crunch and loot. But the intention is it should be relatively equal. Fix an issue with the old epic version of Web of Chaos items from cleansing them at the Legacy Altar of Epic Rituals. And the Legacy Altar is the thing that if you have particularly old loot, like old loot, and you need to onboard it into the new crafting system, that's what you'll use, is the Legacy Altar of Epic Rituals. The Smuggler's Steed is now properly white in color. It was white in all the lead-up promotional advertising, and then somehow wires got crossed, and in-game it ended up being brownish. So we had to be like, oh, no, that's actually supposed to be white. Like in the picture of the thing that we're selling. But we also heard some people saying, yeah, but I kind of like the brown one better, more instead. Can we have that one too? Maybe. We have actually made a version of it that's brown that perhaps some point in the future we'll be able to offer. Contained augments will now display their minimum level, contained generally within a singleton bag or shared bag, like ingredient bag, that kind of thing. Augment bag in this case. Favored weapons are once more properly recognized on login without needing to unequip and re-equip them. That's nice. A sound issue corrected with the baby crocodile creature companion. It was doing that grrr, grrr, the kind of loud grrr that was actually from the giant crocodile monster. And that was happening too often, plus it wasn't supposed to be there. So we got rid of that. Many missing docent base layers now visible again. I keep reading this one. Someday it's going to be true. Deprecated guild augments. Once again, I think it's true now. Let me know if it's not. Deprecated guild augments are once again back in game data. So they can be removed from bags and banks properly. What happened is when we deprecated the old guild augment system, you know, the vendors that were in House Kundarak, those augments dropped out of game data. And when they dropped out of game data, you weren't able to pull it from your shared bank because there's nothing to pull. The game is like, what? I don't know this thing. So we've added it back into game data. The purpose of doing this is to allow you to clear out that inventory space. You don't need this stuff anymore. We're not going to be using it anymore. So the only reason you'd want to hang on to it is as like a museum display piece or something. But this will give you an opportunity now to take care of that, which you weren't able to do when Update 50 launched. Salt marsh mount types, say that 5 times fast, no longer improperly display as unicorns. Several small fixes have been made to various epic and legendary crafted loot. There's a kind of just a bunch of odds and ends that got whack-a-mole there. We've fixed a bunch of typos. Krabben Bix is back to give you the Tower of Frost. In a frosty reception, we have been continuing to work on this issue with the spider optional. Some of the logic there has been pretty tricky and prone to bugginess. But we have it, we believe, fixed this time around. At Danger of Dunwater, the Sea Elf Ambassador Titus is now properly green on all difficulties. At least green on Epic Elite, that much I know. Fix a typo in Garthelmore's VIP ticket exchange text. There, I have now given you news. Alright. There we go. What else was I going to mention? Oh, we did have a follow-up post by Linabelle on the forums that I should probably read. This will address some of the what's next in terms of systems and bug fixes that have been going out. And let me... I think this is the one. Okay. Yeah. So, one of the first bits of feedback we wanted to kind of mention is that we've been hearing that you like this NPC loot distribution system that debuted in Saltmarsh, where if you buy an expansion pack, you don't just get everything dumped into your inventory. You go to an NPC, in this case Garthelmore in the inn, and then choose which stuff you want to get from the collectors or ultimate, and then you can just get another one again, assuming that it's the kind of item that you can get again. For the one-time delivery items, it lets you make sure that you're on the right character on the right server to get the item before you actually claim it. About the only thing it does mean is that the teleport item, since it's bundled in with Saltmarsh, unlike previous expansions where you just get the item and you can click on it, you actually kind of have to know where to go this time around, at least once. And that means that you need to go into the Gatekeeper's Grove. Right when you get in, you'll see to the left there's an NPC for Keep and an NPC for Saltmarsh. You'll go to Saltmarsh there and get teleported to the zone. So, but you do need to do that once so that you can speak to the NPC to get your teleport item. So I know a few players who were not expecting that because they've kind of gotten used to just clicking on the clicky and doing it that way. But overall, though, the loot distribution system seems to be much more preferred, and we're actually hoping to do more along those lines in the future here as a way to... it's not a solution to inventory issues, but it certainly doesn't hurt. We already mentioned that we're going to be dropping 1,000 Sentient XP chits in Epic Chests of Saltmarsh. The non-Saltmarsh Epic Legendary Crafting Packs, the 7 of them, are dropping too few pack ingredients. We are aiming to up that in the near future, so if it's a not Saltmarsh pack that you are getting these crafting ingredients with, we're going to be upping them here in the near future because they came in just a little bit too low. And that'll be in an upcoming patch within the next couple of weeks, I would think. Another issue that we're working to address is the acquisition rate of greater tokens of the 12. What we're going to be doing is introducing a way, as you saw in the notes here, to transmute commendations of heroism to greater tokens of the 12 at a 1-to-1 ratio. That's a pretty good way to do it. I believe... Oh, and we actually removed monster sources of token fragments. Removing the scroll drop chance also removed the separate check, so they're going to be fixing that bug in an upcoming patch, so you'll get your token fragments back as well. Otherwise, we are exploring specific source cosmetics. We'll be introducing an NPC in the near future that'll give you a copy of the Iconic exclusive cosmetics. If you're on an Iconic, you do have to be on the Iconic to be eligible for it, but you'll just be able to pick that stuff up. No more waiting till level 15 on the cosmetics and stuff. It also means you'll be able to reacquire pre-order exclusive Iconic cosmetics if you've chucked it. And we're going to be making those cosmetics bound to account. So you will be able to acquire them at your leisure. You do have to be an Iconic to pick it up. Once there, it is bound to account, but you're not going to be able to put it on your non-iconic characters. The reason for that is these iconic-specific cosmetics are built for that specific avatar rig in mind, and there are no equivalent versions for other body types. So the iconic exclusive cosmetics are exclusive both for technical and other reasons. And that means that even though it's going to be bound to account, you're not going to be able to just swap it onto a different character. You will be able to theoretically put it in their inventory or something, though, if you want to. The other thing we're going to be working on is permanent teleport destinations. One of the things we're going to be building out is a UI page to hold your teleport destinations, like the Bottle of Mist, the Key to Evening Star, and all these other things, including the new one from Saltmarsh. So what you'll be able to do is share them across your account on a per-server basis and free up the inventory space. You'll drag teleport destinations from the new window directly to your hotbar, or just click on it in the window if you want. And that should be a pretty good way to get to these various places. I don't know what the ETA is going to be on that. My understanding is because it's a UI element, it does involve the creation of UI elements, like art assets and such. That tends to be something that has to be scheduled into the formal development process, as opposed to just kind of someone pouncing on it because they've got an extra 15 minutes. It's a pretty significant task. So we don't have an ETA. I would not expect that to be within the next couple of weeks, for example. But it is something that we're working on here in the near future. So, what else do we got? Does this patch address the issues with runes not always dropping in the raid? No. We do have a plan to fix that, though. That work is being done. It isn't through the process yet, and so that'll be in a coming patch, probably in the pretty near future. And I think that is the main. Let me check. I think there's not too much else we can mention. Saltmarsh, has been out. It was a week ago today, right? It's been going very well, I think, and people seem to be enjoying it, so that's been really good. Please let me remind you that if you are a VIP and you log in between now and through September 4th, through September 5th, rather, through Sunday, September 5th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, -4 GMT. If you log in between now and 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, September 5th, you will be flagged to receive a Saltmarsh VIP Elixir of Discovery. You'll just get these claim tickets in your inventory. You can turn them in with Garthelmore. If you don't want to turn them in, you can dump it. You don't get another one on that character, but you could always roll up another character or something like that. This NPC can be accessed as long as you own a Standard, Collector, or Ultimate Fan Edition of Saltmarsh. So you do need to own the expansion in order to talk to the NPC, but you only need to be VIP to get the ticket. So you can log in as VIP, and then it'll be sitting there for whenever you do want to get Saltmarsh, and if you don't want to get Saltmarsh, you can ditch it from your inventory. But that's actually something we should mention. Also, of course, we do have Saltmarsh out, right? So that's over in the DDO market, and things seem to be going pretty well. We did have a hot fix as well in this past week, and then the patch today. So those are the two main things. Before I just sort of commit to hanging around in game a little bit more, let me see what chat has to say, and I also wanted to look up our DDO internal and external calendar real quick, just to make sure that I'm on top of things. Okay. Yeah, we don't really have too much planned in the near future in terms of patches. We do have a small patch, I think, incoming, but that's about it. Saltmarsh is out. We got a lot of cool Saltmarsh stuff we're doing. We all full speed ahead now on update 51. That's going to have a couple of quests and a raid. Yep, update 51 is going to have a raid. We'll have more information about that as we get closer to it. All right, let me head over to the chat rooms. You love the map and the new Back to Basics quest. Would love to see quests get old grid paper style maps. I agree. I agree 1000%. I love that map too. And I, too, would like to see us do that on the regular. I assume that that was sort of an extra special effort, which is why, we don't see it just as the default or what have you. But yeah, it sure is nice, isn't it? It's very cool. Alright, would like to change the key to dismount is mapped to... Oh, yeah, yes, I know, Craig RPH. I have heard that one before, that you would like to be able to add a dismount, or change your dismount key. And that is something I would like to see us do here at some point in the near future. So the next thing I'm actually doing here, I did update a few, I did get a couple of pieces of loot. I wonder if I have them here or if I have them in my bank. Let me see what I've got for loot so far from Saltmarsh. A couple of things are already on different characters, but I did pick up a couple of nice things, one of which I believe, actually this is from Saltmarsh, right? The Morian of the Undying. I've just been messing around with this a little bit, and I'm not settled on my gear. I actually did want to talk to the stream here today about my gear and see what kind of info, tips you might be able to get. But I did pick this up on my minor artifact, which meant I had to swap out my other minor artifact, which was the Prince's Gauntlet. And as a result, my hit points are too low because I don't have a very good con item right now. And so I'm in the midst of playing some Gear Tetris, and I may actually, for tonight, or for today, just swap that back because I haven't had a chance. I do have on the legendary Sunstone Gauntlets, though. That's where I'm getting my Devotion to Healing lore. Wizardry doesn't hurt. The main thing I'm trying to do is figure out where to fit in my con item. So on the necklace here right now, I just have the stolen necklace for charisma was really the main reason. Back when I was doing some turning, it was helpful. That can actually probably get replaced right now. But I just sort of have it here to focus. I'm getting my magical sheltering from this trinket slot, the legendary Cursebane focus. All the rest of it is nice, like the spell saves and what have you, and the fact that, you know, it's got right now my Festive Wisdom Augment as well, for an extra +2. But mostly it's just about that magical sheltering right now. On the cloak slot, I've got the legendary Silver Thread Cloak. That was my main wisdom thing. It is 13 instead of 14. Now, that doesn't actually make much difference because it takes me from 60 to 61. But I'm trying to plan ahead here, right? And redo a lot of my gear to kind of update it. Although I'm struggling to kind of figure out where best to do it. So this can go. My cloak slot can go if I end up keeping, you know, this here for my wisdom. And right now I'm getting my fortification of 142% for my armor, which is the legendary Scales of the Exile. I'm also doing that for the parrying, for the insightful wisdom, for the insightful con. That's basically why I've got the legendary Scales of the Exile equipped. In my bracers right now, I've got Bracers of the Fallen Hero. That's for the strength. I'm doubling up on Insightful Con, so I could actually, you know, one of these can go into the Gear Tetris thing. That's about all I'm getting is the strength for just general 2-hit and damage and Insightful Con from the legendary bracers. On the rings right now, I have the legendary Death Warden. At one point, it was the source of my healing lore 21%, but as you can see, I don't need to... Where did I put that now? Yeah, I don't need that if I'm going to have on the legendary Sunstone Gauntlets. So the only real benefits I'm getting from this ring at the moment is Death Block, the efficient meta magic, which is nice, but whatever, and the exceptional devotion, which, you know, doesn't hurt. But, there we go. On the feet slot, I just have the Flightfoot Greaves. It's that 30% run speed, the 13 natural armor bonus, and the 10 reflex saves, and the freedom of movement. General useful stuff. Now, I still am right now, in the trinket slot, or the eye slot, using the precision lenses. Now, that's getting me my melee alacrity 15% since I'm not getting it, I don't believe, right? Yeah, I'm not getting it. Oh, no, I am getting it from the speed 30%. Okay, so this can actually go then, too. This was giving me insightful strength, doesn't hurt. Manslayer is kind of whatever. Action Boost Enhancement doesn't hurt. Gives me an extra 3 action boosts. But it looks like maybe the eye slot can sort of go if I can maybe find something with that Insightful Strength. And then my final ring here is the Legendary Ring of Summer's Heat, where I mostly have it on for the Radiance. The Radiance lore 21% and the Radiance 142. It's currently my main source of the Radiance that I've got going on. And I think that's the state of my gear right now. For a weapon, I'm just using the Morning Lord Kopesh with a Sentient Gem of the Kobold and, you know, getting all sorts of stuff there. For the Tower Shield, I'm using the Mirror Plate Tower. Main reason for that is the Quality Magical Sheltering. The Block Elements doesn't hurt. The Mirror Shield, which is 50 Insight to MRR. So honestly, it's probably one of the main contributors to my pretty weak MRR, but it's what I've got. And then spell saves plus 10. For the quiver slot, I'm just using the Quiver of Alacrity. Mostly, not really any real particular reason. Double shot doesn't hurt for the times that I am trying to hit something, and the stealth strike doesn't hurt either as a cleric. So that's really the kind of current state of this character here. And you can see I've got a couple of lives, but, you know, fairly middling strength. 61 wisdom isn't terrible. 33 charisma, which was enough for the turning. I've kind of found as I've moved really above level 28 that my turning ability fell off. I had tried to boost it. I've got both the Epic Seraphim for Hollowed and such, and I've got... Is this the one? No, I had on the Legendary Crown of Fireflies, however. Where did I find that now? Well, I think I might have moved it off this character, but I also had the gloves. I can't think of the name of them right now. The gloves that gives you the... my brain is dying. I don't know. I can't think of what I was going to say. The gloves that give you the... Oh, the turning undead bonus. So I've largely stripped all the turning boosts off this character at this point, and what that's going to mean here in the near future is I'm going to probably do some different work on my enhancements right now, which are mostly in Radiant Servant. I want Radiant Servant. It's what I use for the group, but I can dial back on some of the stuff that I was getting additional turn undead boosts if I'm just going to strip turn undead away from this character at this point in the game. So that's really kind of where I am, and I'm kind of in the middle of a tough gear Tetris situation. I need to get a plus 14 wisdom or higher. And so the main thing I really need right now is Constitution, which is probably why I should put back on... where's that one belt? Was it a belt? There was something I was getting... Oh yeah, here we go. Alright, my trinket. So I think I'm going to just have to put this trinket back on. Or not trinket, but minor artifact back on. Really for my con, right? Because kind of got to get that. It makes a big difference. But that means I lose my healing lore, devotion, and what have you from it. Which is why I had been, prior to last night, using the Legendary Crown of Fireflies. But when I got this, I wanted to particularly start to see, other than the, you know, healing amp, quality devotion, the one better wisdom, I really wanted to check out, see what kind of impact that Deific Focus 3 had as well. So, but I think at least for today, I'm just going to kind of leave it where it was for the most part, to kind of get me back to where I wanted to be. So that was boring. No, I hope you enjoyed that. I could use some help. Let me say. Can you say I'm a noob? I'm a noob. Does today's update fix the broken issue with the Spark of Logic? I am not aware of an error with the Spark of Logic. It should apply the extra filigree slot. You will have to earn the XP, however. Tell me more about what specifically the bug is there. Yes, the status of fragment tokens of the 12 not dropping in Chronoscope, that'll be fixed here in the near future. I have not heard of Umbral Soul visuals getting fixed. When you slot an augment with a higher minimum level, it was not showing the new absolute minimum level on the item. Does today's update not fix that? I don't know. This was specifically as it relates to containers, and I don't think once slotted it would be a container. So I would guess this would not correct that. But, I could be wrong. Yes, that will include the teleportation panel, will include the Stormreach D20. Or was it the D12? The D12, you're right, it's not a D20, it's a D12! The commemorative D12. Yes, you will get that added to the UI when you get that. Making epic versions of the other Sans quests. I've not heard of any plans to do that, sorry. Some champs still one-hit kill you, probably. We have heard that there may be some... It may be that we've been pretty... So we've been hearing that on Reaper 5 and above, say, things may have gotten a little bit more quite a bit more difficult. I'm not sure that at the moment we're particularly concerned about that. I would say, as a matter of fact, for the most part, I think we're okay with some of the higher level Reaper becoming a little bit more difficult as a result of these changes. But, that said, we're not looking to deny people the experience that they would like to see in that content. So, but I do think there's a fairly good... I mean, at the moment, we've seen the post saying, oh, higher level Reaper is more difficult now. But I'm not sure that that's something we plan to immediately react to. I think what we would rather do is give it a couple of weeks, give players an opportunity to sort of get their get their minds around them, whatever new metas might be there, and then see where we land in terms of difficulty. That also does relate to some extent Sorcerer DPS as well. But I think that, you know, there is a wider belief that maybe Sorc DPS or something is something that we should work toward. Whereas I'm not sure that we really feel much of a need to knee-jerk react on higher level Reaper becoming more difficult.
The first mate shouts to the rest of the crew to repel the intruders. It's going to be a long night.
Well, that said, we're always open to kind of further feedback on it, but I don't think that it relates to the new, as it relates to the new difficulty. We have overly significant concerns other than the ones that have been addressed to date, which is that we do want to make sure that CC is in a good place, that people are finding compelling gameplay there, and if we need to make an adjustment on that, we can. We probably will. But on some of the other aspects, I'm not sure that we're particularly concerned if Reaper 8, for example, is a little bit too significantly more difficult than it had been. Con 12 augment. Yeah, I could go with the aug, but 12 isn't going to be good enough, right? I need to get a little higher than that, right? But maybe that is the way to go. Do I have a nebula fragment? I do not. That might be something to look into as well. I will look that one up. Not that you don't like me, but when is the next Sev session? I would expect that to be fairly soon. Once we get Saltmarsh out the door or once Saltmarsh is kind of fully in our rearview mirror and the planning work that, frankly, has him super busy right now, is done, I would expect he'd be able to carve out time to swing by the stream and do a little bit of Q&A. On the what's coming next front, though, we actually are jumping into a whole bunch of coolness. Because we've got the Epic Destiny work that really is going to be the next big focus of previewing and Lamania and what have you. A bunch of that went to the Players' Council yesterday or the day before. And the feedback on that so far has been pretty positive. Obviously, just like anything this early in development, things are going to change. But the Epic Destiny stuff is looking pretty hot, and it should be ready for public viewing in the relatively near future. Within the next...
The first mate is dead.
Well, I don't want to put a time frame on it. But, you know, within the next few weeks, perhaps. Weeks or so, perhaps. One of the things so we did mention, you know, about the VIP login boost. We do want to make sure that every VIP takes advantage of that. Unless you really, truly are like, I will never be buying Saltmarsh ever. I don't care if you offer it for 99 cents someday. I'm never, ever buying it. Then don't worry about this login boost. But everyone else, you should log in between now and the end of the day on September 5th. At least get that VIP elixir. It's a free elixir discovery on every character. Why the heck don't do it, right? I mean, no, I don't want better named loot. Or a better chance at named loot. So do that thing. But I would mention we also have the 10% VIP discount on Saltmarsh. This is the first time we've been able to offer that. A specific VIP discount that we have not had that tech previously in the DDO market, or the old former DDO market even, right? That's new tech. Well, that's really nice, but that's not the only one, too. I don't know how many... We've been kind of keeping it on the relatively down low. Just because it's relatively new, and we want to make sure it works and whatever. But for those of you who have noticed, over in the new DDO market, we also do have upgrades. So in terms of, hey, I bought the collector's edition, except I really do want that lizard folk sentient gem, or I really do want those extra cosmetics, or any of the other bonuses that you would get from the ultimate, you can go to the DDO market now and purchase, basically pay the difference, and upgrade. And so that is also new tech that we have, and that's something that ideally we would hope in the future to perhaps bring to all of the X-Specs. But for now is going to specifically remain for Saltmarsh. It's not something we can just kind of manually... We can't just flip a switch and enable it. There's handcrafted work, artisanal handcrafted e-commerce work that must be done in order to be able to offer that. But that is something we would like to do at some point, hopefully, in the future.
Long live the new captain.
The new captain is me, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
Among multiple love letters from various paramours in different ports, you find a work contract for hardware deliveries.
Actually, I think my audio balance might be a little off. Turn down the music volume just a little bit. This one can get pretty hairy on Reaper. I believe this is one of the quests I walked into on Reaper, and it gets pretty tricky because these things, soldiers just kind of keep coming. which can be bad if you're not in a position to do anything about it.
Deck Wizard splits into several copies of
Oh yeah, I
himself.
forgot about that.
None of them look happy to see you.
So I did pick up some pretty good loot, though. I don't know if what you've been able to get from Saltmarsh yet, but there's been some pretty good things, and I did start upgrading. Unfortunately, after I did it, I realized I made a big mistake because I didn't do it for the live stream. But I actually have upgraded a couple of level 3 items, because once you run through enough to get the saga for Saltmarsh, you have enough, at least I had enough, to do just 2 items with the amount of hay that I received from the quests. So I was able to upgrade one from, well, 2 upgrades. So I upgraded one from Epic to Legendary. So, and that was basically just one run through on the saga, and then kind of a little bit of putzing around in the wilderness. I did pick up all the explorer zones, and I think I got somewhere in the range of 7 to 10 of the named from out there as well. So, you know, that's about the pace of it that we're going to be aiming for, as we were saying, for the non-Saltmarsh crafting ingredient quests here in the near future. But for now, that's where we are. But I realized I just did it because I wanted to get it done for me, and then I was like, oh, idiot, you should have done that on live stream, because you just showed off the upgrade, and now you don't have enough ingredients to show it off on the live stream. So, you know, I did that. But, nonetheless, I did do that a little bit, and it worked out pretty well. I understand we have a few packs that we still have some bug work related to. I know that Linabelle and Steelstar have been on the forums and Discord and elsewhere, kind of talking about some of the work that they're playing whack-a-mole with in terms of odds and ends, but for bringing out and completely revamping the Scroll Seal Shard system, I'd say we hit a lot of the big stuff in this update here, and so the rest will just kind of have to happen as we can do. Oh, that was close. As we can. A little low. I may have... Pop back over to that shrine on the other side here. Assuming I can get over here without running into combat issues. So yeah, we'll be doing an Update 51 preview on Lamania, but in terms of content, but also really next is going to be a lot of the Epic Destiny update work that'll be happening. Whether we do that in 1 or 2 previews, I don't think that's entirely clear yet, but it's going to be extensive. Besides the actual work being done to the Epic Destiny system and all the Epic Destinies and, you know, replacing Magister with a new one and what have you, we've got just a lot to preview there. And like I say, so far we're encouraged by the feedback that we've seen on the Players' Council, and the earlier feedback that we saw, we were able to respond to quite a bit as well. From the first Lamania preview that happened in June, right? That was June? That was June. It was like, what, 2 years ago in June is when that happened. So things are actually quite a bit different from that first preview, and that will be something we'll be showing off here, like I think within a couple of weeks, probably a couple of weeks. I mean, it's not like I don't think it's gonna be next week, but we'll see. But within a few weeks here, we're gonna start rolling out that Epic Destiny work to Lamania and the forums and what have you. So. I can also say one of the things we've been considering internally that we would like to do for maybe the Epic Destiny work, maybe something on the other game side first, maybe Update 51 content. Hard to say exactly when this is going to happen, because it is still fairly embryonic in its planning. But one of the things we're working to do is offer, I guess what you could call an exclusive preview. Better exclusive preview to the people who are driving a lot of the coverage of our game throughout the press. Now, in many cases, of course, the press outlet has their own reporter who's playing the content and what have you, but specifically for a lot of the day-in, day-out stuff, we see frequently people rely on content creators, and then they write articles about that. And content creators are, more often than not in 2021, the people where you're getting a lot of your information from. And it's because some of these content creators, because of their focus on a specific game or whatever, they can really deep dive in their knowledge and provide some great context. And that's what we see with a lot of people, just to name a few, like Voodoo Spice and Patrick and Strimtom and just, you name it, right? There's a bunch of people. Sorry, I don't want to name Samus Garobo and a bunch of other people, right? So we're thinking about doing a specific Lamania preview, whether that be a day early, some kind of semi-private thing with the team, what have you. We're looking to try to maybe do an exclusive preview to some of these content creators, not just to, say, reward them a little bit for their support of our game over the years, but also to help further the initial spread of knowledge on some of these fairly complex systems. You know, especially when you look at something like your... maybe I shouldn't have dropped down here. It's kind of rough. I think I'm taking too much damage. On. Oh no. Oh my gosh. What an idiot I am. Need to clear out this trash if I can. Get in better positional place at the very least. How about over by a door? Let me not die. Let me focus on trying to not die. That's me. When I realize I've aggroed too much. So I actually have kind of lost my train of thought. I'm not even sure what. Oh, I was talking about previews on Lamania. Yeah. So that's the idea. Is that the Voodoo Spices, Strim Toms, Patrick's, Drax, Mickey's. I mean, tons of people, right? Well, we can put together a list of, let's say, 20 content creators and have a specific, maybe one-on-one preview with some of the more, or frankly, some of the wiki people. I could see being a part of this as well, where they get an opportunity a day early to just sort of look at all these changes, ask some questions from the developers who are doing the work, so that when this makes its debut the next day, the next week, whatever makes sense, they would be able to help spread the word on some of the basics here, right? In terms of the complexity and helping people understand what some of these changes are. So that's the thinking anyway, and we'll see when we do that. We'll see how that works. But that's something that we have been thinking about here. So. I think. Alright, let me quick pop through. Oh, I remember the rats here.
Neither of you are willing
I'm gonna have
share.
to fight this as well. Oh gosh. Ah! No! Yarg! Yep. Back through here. Poor Frogo is a little bit of a... is not the strongest or most tanky of the NPCs. However, someone said on the forums, Frogo is a good buddy. I agree. If I was writing a song about Frogo, I think the name of the song might be Frogo is a good buddy. Because I agree, Frogo has been helping me out quite a bit on my journey through Saltmarsh and elsewhere. There is that one underwater chest in Saltmarsh content here that Frogo is currently unable to deal with, and the reason for that is really it's an underwater chest, which hirelings in general have troubles with. But the intention is to we're going to be moving that chest to a rock platform. I know it's not the best solution. Ideally, we've got a kind of a line on what maybe we could do to more permanently make it easier for hirelings to path to underwater chests. But that's a pretty significant task and ask, and I'm not sure that I would expect to see us do that anytime soon. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be killed by a rat. Also, where's my... what is going on? Did I hit T? Okay. Oh no. I don't think I have any spell point potions. Make sure I'm getting this. Maybe I might need to pop up quick. There we go. The Ravenloft Con Cloak. I will look into that. It's a little hard right now to get to your questions when I'm getting destroyed by a rat. A particularly difficult infected ship rat. This is quite the rat. If I get them to aggro, that would be nicer. If I could just get that aggro off. That is ridiculous. Ah! This rat is ridiculous. Alright. I don't want to do this. Do I want to revive? What do I want to do? Oh, we're at 1 o'clock. So I guess let's just get raffle stomped by a rat and call it done. So, we'll do that. Let me head through questions. Oh, last time I died, I was in Feywild, I guess. I should really bind to the person there. Is there a plan to offer, convert, update existing heroic to the new versions, or must they be reacquired? They can be upgraded. The old Scroll Seal Shard stuff, the old stuff, can be upgraded through the Legacy Altar of Epic Rituals to the new version of the Scroll Seal Shard item, and that new version can be upgraded using the modern method. You will want to make sure you have your filigree augments, that kind of thing. Sentient gems, if necessary. I don't think any, but that out of it first. Okay, I will write that down, Grasskitch, about the Spark of Logic not necessarily giving the first filigree bonus. I will ask about that. I don't know about that one. Duncan Thrax, you're not getting any animations on opening doors and chests and what? That is not normal. I would try a reinstallation. Sounds like kind of a data error with the game client. Can I address spell point cost staying the same versus stat squished available pool? As a percent of available spell points, spells are a lot more expensive and it takes more damage to whittle things down. How will that be addressed? If necessary, we can address spell point cost if we feel that it's something that we need to do here in the future. Yeah, 14 with artifact, so con artifact, I guess. Oh, except I can't because I've already got the one minor artifact for my wisdom. Interesting. Okay, well, so 13 con it is. Do we have the ability to gift expansions as a code to redeem in-game? Yes and no. We can manually create codes that can be redeemed for an edition of the expansion. We would do this for, say, giveaways if we were to do them. Probably will, presumably, at some point in the future. And for things like press access, content creator access, and personal access, say day of and what have you. So yes, we can create codes about that, but we can't create a code that could be gifted and distributed through the new DDO market. Draknor, I am not aware of that Vistani knife fighter animation issue. I will copy that one down. Was there any number of reported issues buying Saltmarsh? Yes. There was a number of reported issues. Relatively low, but particularly as it relates to some overseas payments, payment processors, we do have a regular amount of kind of issues with that. There was a little bit of work that had to be done on a geographic basis within the first 24 to 48 hours of release. So that work was done. My understanding is basically everyone impacted by that is either already helped or being helped by customer service. If you did run into an issue, of course, and have not filled in a ticket, please do so. You want the Mimikant event soon? Yeah. Why are we only able to get one sentient lizard jewel per account? It was a decision made. What can I say? It is true. You only get one sentient lizard jewel per account. Sorry, I don't have anything else more to add to that. I understand what you're saying. It would be cool to have, like, a lot more of them, but we tend to be pretty stingy about distribution of sentient jewels. Sentient gems. Where in the 12? Yes. Let's do that. Let's wrap up the show here by doing that. Let me use my commemorative Stormreach D12, which will soon be in a UI somewhere. Will future packs use the new upgrade system or drop legendary loot? I think that depends, but I do think that we will see more use of this upgrade system in the future, rather than, say, a direct drop of legendary loot. It depends on the content, it depends on the purpose, it depends what's going on, so there's like a whole bunch of kind of what-if factors there, but in general, I would say that as long as people are liking it, and as long as it's meeting its goals and functionally working, and as long as generally things are going well, then we'll keep doing it. If everyone hates it, then presumably we won't. Alright, so this is where you want to go. Lehar here, for the first thing, will trade your tokens for augments. And you can see that's always been the case. Tokens for augments. You can also speak to Lehar here to trade in your old epic crafting materials for new ones. So, your scrolls, your shield, your seals, your shards. I think all mine are... I mean, they should be on this character. They haven't been pulled from the shared bank in so long. I probably need to swap them in and out of the shared bank, crafting bank. But this is where you'll get your trade-in for your scrolls, seals, and shards. And then it'll also tell you a little bit about how to do this stuff. You'll have the Altar of Epic Rituals here. So I believe I still have a level 3 item in my inventory here somewhere. Yeah, the Anchor Chain. Pick this one up. This dropped in Legendary. So you'll put the Anchor Chain in there. And with 50... Oh, I do have enough. 50 Salt Meadow Hay. You will be able to upgrade this to the next thing. You want to know what it does? There you go. You can put it over on the altar there. Goes from 8 to 16%. This one I actually upgraded to level 20 here. Because I thought having a returning dart would be pretty sweet. So you'll upgrade it through there, and I don't want to upgrade that item, sorry. And then, for the legendary thing, you'll take the epic version of the item. And then, using either Threads of Fate, what have you, all the other stuff, you will get it there. So, I think I have enough hay to do this now. So there we go. Yep, so I've got my 10 star fragments. You only need 5. Get them from running the content. And I've got my 100 Salt Meadow Hay. And then I've got my Epic Splinter Mast. We'll make it legendary. And there we go. Where did that go? Right here. So that brings it up to 15 Bleeding 6, Tidal 6, Crushing Tsunami, Ghostbane 6, and Corrosive Salt. And I can put a red and a purple in there as well. And it accepts sentience. Not going to probably put a sentient gem in there, but that's okay. And bound to account. So. And then if you need to update the old stuff, the Legacy Altar of Epic Rituals is still here. Now I understand, as some people have said, there's still a few bugs that we have to work out yet, but we do have this is where you'll do it, is around the corner and down here. So you'll update it from the old versions to the regular version, and now for the regular version you'll use this Altar of Epic Rituals to get the job done. So. When I say you need to clean old AUGs from Shared Bank, which ones? That would be the old Guild Augment system. The old Guild Augment system that was deprecated in, what, 2011, 2012? There's still, those NPCs were still hanging around, and now they're not. So this is the old Guild Augment. For most people, very few people even have these things anymore, honestly. But those who do, they had it stuck in their inventory because it had gotten dropped from data. It's now back in data, so you can get rid of that stuff. The rat is killing me. Yes, that rat was... deadly. Wow, a lot of chat that I just did not get to. I should get a legendary dynastic Falcata. I will look into that. It takes forever to convert these scroll seal shards. It is a one-time pain in the butt, but it's probably going to remain a one-time pain in the butt. The Sentient Jewel of the Lizard Folk is not a guaranteed Saltmarsh Saga reward option. Not at all. My understanding is the Sentient Jewel of the Lizard Folk is a reward option, but not guaranteed. Well, I guess would be a rare option. Alright, let me head over to YouTube quick. Can we get more House Quest, maybe? Is there a release date for the D&D Dragons? Sorry, don't know what you're talking about there. How do you decipher the book? And one of those quests with the dude in the coffin. I can't remember, but that one puzzle you go into another room and do a slash command. My guess is it may be also a slash command. Using a Steam controller rocks for DDO, someone on YouTube says. That's good to know. They had been using an Xbox. That's cool. Are the Forgotten Realms drops raid gear going to be updated to the current power level meta? No immediate plans to do that. Perhaps someday, but it's not on our agenda. Is there a way to increase the UI size regardless of resolution? No. But that would be something we would love to do as part of wider UI work in the future. Can we check out monster saves in TOE and Slave Lords? Yeah, and I think some monster statting work will need to be done as well. Rat, for example, that you just saw. A few other things that we will probably need to do some individual kind of tweaking with here in the coming weeks. If that rat kills me, I'll never live it down. It's true. I will never live it down. Best way to put in a ticket is to go to help.standingstonegames.com and submit a ticket if it's an account, technical support issue, something like that. If it's an in-game issue, then go through the help menu in-game here by clicking on help and waiting for it to load, and then submitting a ticket there. And actually, it may not work for me because of my account status. But we're actually in the process of updating our in-game ticketing system to a newer system. It's basically going to be using the same system as our out-of-game ticketing system here in the near future. And one of the tasks I'm actually doing this week is doing a write-up on that guide. We're going to put together a guide on how to submit a ticket to DDO and the other game. So we do have some changes coming through the in-game help system in the near future. We're going to be swapping over to Zendesk. Probably a name you're familiar with if you've ever used customer service somewhere. And so that'll be happening in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, in-game is the way to do that. And if you're having a problem in-game, can't submit a ticket in-game or whatever, or if it's an account or technical support question, go to help.standingstonegames.com. We're not going to ask any of the hard questions. You can ask me hard questions. I can't guarantee I'll answer them. We specifically have not fixed Sacred Defender Enhancement Tree Tier 5 Divine Revelation. It does not add +1 saves, AC spell resistance. Such a dang lie DDO is to us players. This is fraud! Yes, I will write that one down and make sure the systems team is aware of it. Alright, well, I think we're going to wrap it up then. That sounds pretty good. Is this not supposed to be the White Smuggler's Steed? Specifically, this is the Lizard Folk Steed. The White Smuggler's Steed is not currently in my hotbar, but will be shortly. And yes, even the icon changed from brown to white. There we are. That's the steed we know and love. Alright, thank you very much for watching the show. I'll be back next week with more. We'll do some Q&A perhaps, or something like that. So stay tuned. We have a bunch of streamers all week long on twitch.tv/DDOstream, so do check them out if you would. Quick note, I did do a tabletop thing also last Sunday here on Twitch, so you can find the archive of that over on Twitch and YouTube if you want to see some D&D by and for DDO players. That's D&D night on DDO stream every Sunday. Otherwise, we mostly will be focusing next on Epic Destinies and Update 51. We've got a new raid in the works, we've got some new quests, and a whole lot more. Hope you're enjoying Saltmarsh. Things have been going pretty well so far, and we appreciate the kind words that we've received about our execution of Saltmarsh so far. So thank you very much, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon.